The reason we became a Gartner client was to essentially lose the subjective view that we had on ourselves and go outside, try to learn how the market will potentially see us, how end user clients will see us, how partners will see us. For a smaller company such as we are, it's a significant financial commitment, and as you're just starting, there's lots of things that you could do. You could invest in events, you could invest in lead generation programs, in other forms of marketing to get your name out. Once we understood how we could use Gartner in, maturing our own business, maturing how we saw ourselves, it became a company priority. It became a really strategic effort to use the knowledge of Gartner to reinforce what we already could do on our own. These analyst opinions are extremely valuable. He speaks to thousands of people throughout the year, and whether we ask him about the virtual constellation of the entire market or one particular client, where we want to make sure we articulate our value proposition well for this client, the work for the analyst is probably the same. But for us, the operational impact is we're much better prepared to go after one particular deal. And in general, it makes up for a better offer and to be better prepared for against the competition as well. If we had to rely on our own people, let's say if I hired someone who did nothing else but competitive analysis, I would be stuck with the knowledge of that person. And being able to tap into the vast richness of industry knowledge that Gartner has, I can really choose the best partner for a discussion at any given moment in time. Every once in a while we get into a situation where our product needs to be applied to a different area. And so it's fairly easy to just call up Gartner and say, who's the analyst who can help us understand that particular area better? So we have more distinctive messaging for CEOs, for CFOs, CIOs, chief architects, etc. And also another thing that we didn't do in the past was we were always very technical. As when you're proud of your product, it's easy to be technical and say, these are all the things we do great. But we certainly failed at a certain stage to better articulate the business value. The main factor, I believe, in making the partnership with Gartner successful is to really see it as a partnership and really see it as a relationship that needs to be open, honest. There's a big difference between briefing an analyst just once a year and then not, building on top of that first call. And really nurturing an analyst relationship so that you eventually benefit as a vendor. It is really important that in the management team you have the right expectations as to what you can get out of that. If you think that just by subscribing to Gartner services will get you any number of additional leads, you're going to be very disappointed. You have to go out and get those leads. The interaction with Gartner will help you in the messaging to get better access to the prospects that are actually the right ones for you. There is a second element that you need to be clear on. If your hope is to subscribe to Gartner and automatically, miraculously get on the upper right corner of the Magic Quadrant, then that's an illusion. Getting there is a combination of hard work on the product side, as well as on having a good business track record. But I think it's very important to get that out of the head as quickly as possible, because the value is completely elsewhere. There's lots of value. Some of it is very measurable. Other value working with Gartner is intangible, and either you understand it and you value it and you cherish it very much, or you should probably not work with Gartner then. In the initial stages, the impact was more on the side of visibility and getting noticed. prospects. For example, it's easier to get a meeting. We could, by the time we were mentioned in some form, didn't really matter how, whether it was Cool Vendor or a Magic Quadrant or anything else. But just the fact that we were known to Gartner made a difference. Lots of our customers, they are also Gartner customers. And so there is a potential to cut down the sales cycle, which is very important. Because one element that we have then in common with this prospect is that we have both a relationship with Gartner. While Gartner won't allow us to talk via Gartner to the end user himself, still there is a level of trust which is naturally established. There is always some that say, but we cannot quite measure in terms of numbers of leads, etc. Well, by the time you focus on specific deals and you win those questions will go away. One deal could easily pay for a couple of years of Gartner subscription, actually.